Hello there folks, happy continuing of the new year. I hope that New Year's Eve were good to you. New Year's Eve and Christmas times are filled with certain traditions, of course, but so is the beginning of the year, especially here in the vinyl community, because the first day of the new year there always comes a vinyl tag, and that are being made by numerous amount of members here at the VC. 20 questions need to be answered, and I've been here since 2014, and I've been doing the vinyl tag since 2015 and everyone until today. So of course I will do a response to this one also. This year's vinyl tag is created by Rob Walker. Hi Rob, I hope that New Year's Eve were good to you. So let's start answering these questions as good as I can. And it feels a little bit embarrassing that the first question actually I have to skip, but that is the case, because the first question is favorite new release 2022, and I actually haven't bought any new release in 2022. Only second hand records, used records. So I can't answer that one. Number 2, last band or solo artist that you saw live. I don't have the full-length album by them, but I have the vinyl single by them. I hope that is good enough. In the beginning of summer 2022, I saw the local band from here in Sundsvall, Distinct. Distinct is pretty famous band here in Sundsvall, but only here in Sundsvall. And they had a pretty good local career in the beginning of the 80s with kind of a new wave-ish rock style. And they actually made a comeback just recently, releasing a new album. So they made a free concert on the Square in June, where they played some songs from their new album. And I haven't paid that much attention to them before, actually. It was just when I saw this concert, because I decided, hey, I give it a chance. And it was really, really good. Really great rock style. And then I found this year, this vinyl single. So now I'm going to start looking for Distinct albums, and hopefully I will find my first full length by them this year. So, but this is the band I saw, the latest band I saw live. They had a mini concert at the Square in June. The first album was the best. There are many bands actually, or artists that have been doing a great first album, and then that one is the best, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the rest is bad. There are actually very few artists that I know that have made one great first album and then took a really big fall in quality after that. So I picked one album that is so amazing that it stands way above every other album they have made, but the other ones aren't bad either. But this one is so amazing, and it's one of the best albums I know. I'm sure I'm not the only one mentioning Alphaville's Forever Young album. This album is a classic. It definitely is one of the best albums ever, with its very nice floating synth pop production, and the arrangements are so amazing. The album after this, Afternoons in Utopia, was also a great one, but it didn't come close to this one, and I guess it wasn't expected to either. So then the rest after that has been little ups and downs, but no album have been close to Forever Young. No one ever will, I think, because this is a masterpiece. a genuine masterpiece, an iconic album. Hat trick, vinyl, CD and cassette. That was a little problem until I heard that it's okay if I made it only 2 of those also. Because I normally sell for 1 at a time. I don't need 2 or 3 of the same just because it's different format. It's a original copy of an album, no matter if it's on cassette, CD or vinyl. Of course, CD or vinyl is easier to show on vinyl community, of course. It's better to have those. But I don't think I have any that I have both on vinyl, CD or cassette. If I have 2 of them, the chance are that I call either one of them away. But there are exceptions. There are cassettes that I bought when I was young and that I felt like was nostalgia. I can't give it away, and even though I found a new one on vinyl. So I picked one of these that I do have both on cassette and vinyl, but not on CD. I have no desire to have it on CD as I have original of these 2. But I picked Kim Wilde's Close. This is an album that I got for free from my father when we were cleaning out a place where he had a whole lot of records, and he didn't even know he had it. So I got it, and I felt like, okay, definitely fun to have. Because back in 1989, I bought it on cassette. And the cassette I listened to over and over, and it's really, really great. I definitely see this as maybe Kim Wilde's best album. Among many great, but I really, really like this album. So it's good to have it both, because this is nostalgia, the cassette, from when I bought it and listened to it when I was in high school, and this one is the newer one, the one that is easier to pick out when I want to show it on vinyl community. Moments like this. Album that starts and ends with the same letter. That was an odd question. I picked Randy Crawford from 1989, I think. And Rich and Poor. Starts with an R and ends with an R. Very much forgotten Randy Crawford album. We have Born the Same Year as You. I'm born 1974, and here I have to show a CD because I don't have this one in vinyl. The fact is that as I am born 74, most of the artists that I do have something with and that are born same year as me are artists that released music in the CD era. But 1974 also Alanis Morissette was born. So I picked Jagged Little Pill. An album that I discovered maybe 10 years after that is how good it was actually. We have most listened to albums in 2022, and here I also had to draw a blank because everything that I've been listening to have been either new stuff, or should I say in 95% new stuff that I have been buying in order to listen to the new I have, and then write about it on my blog. So I haven't got the time actually to listen to same records over and over and over again. And the other 5%, and then I have listened to rediscovered album that I haven't listened to for quite some time. But I haven't got a record that I listened to multiple times actually, so I can't answer to that. But number 8, an artist, most listened to artists in 2022 is, I guess, the most bought artist in 2022, and it is actually, I think, by far one of the artists that I found the most of, Duke Ellington. I found the Brunswick Sessions. I found Duke's Big Four. In the very beginning of the year, I found this World of Duke Ellington Volume 3 double album set. And we got also the Duke Ellington small bands. So I found a whole lot of Duke Ellington, and I'm trying to listen to as many of them as I can. So Duke Ellington is my answer. Australian artist or band. There are a lot of really great Australian artists, especially in the 80s. My favorite, one of my absolute favorites, I should say, is Icehouse, and debut, if I'm not wrong, and here is Fresco and Mimi LP. And I like Iva Davis' voice. I like the production, and I've always liked everything but Icehouse. So I think only on one album until I am complete. I may be wrong, but it's not far away though. But Icehouse, Australian band. Surprising purchase of 2022. I haven't found anyone that have been surprised with what I bought, but I have been surprising myself, I might say, that I actually bought this one and how really great it was. And it was actually when I bought this for $1. Guess Who's Flavors. Guess Who is a band that I haven't paid that much attention to. Some songs are definitely in the wrong league for me. But I know the song Dancing Fool. That is actually a pretty good one that I listened to in a radio show when I was younger. And I picked up my phone, listened to it on YouTube before I bought it to listen to. Is this really good? And it sounded really, really great. Really great singer-songwriter rocker style. And it's a great, great album, this actually. So definitely a surprise for me anyway. We have artists that you are complete on. There are many, of course, but if it's going to mean something, I guess it had to be artists that have released many records, not the one who's made 2 records or something like that. But I picked out actually 4 artists that I have complete on. First of all, Depeche Mode, of course. That is until March this year, because then they will release a new album. So then I'm not complete anymore until I buy that one. Then we have Blood, Sweat and Tears I am complete of. We have Swedish singer-songwriter Peter Lemark. I also have every album with. I think I will remain when it comes to Blood, Sweat and Tears, unless the new so-called version of Blood, Sweat and Tears releases anything, but they haven't since they reformed. Peter Lemark have been stopped doing records, so I have think I will be having the complete for foreseeable future. And Level 42 I also have complete on. There you never know what will happen. They haven't done an album since 2006, but you never know. But those are artists that I have complete collection of. A great run of 3 albums. An artist that have been releasing 3 albums in a row, that was really, really amazing. There are a lot of those. I could easily have picked Depeche Mode, but that would be too easy. So I picked another band from the new wave synth pop era. I picked a French group and the Shin. This is L'Aventière, that I think is from 1983. I think this is their debut. And it was followed by Le Péril Jaune. Sorry about my French. And that one was followed by three. So French synth pop with some little oriental touch in it, and very special, very nice and special and odd melodies, but really, really well made and funky. So French and the Shin, 3 albums in a row that were really, really good. 80s soundtrack. I have a lot of those. I like soundtrack most when there are original songs for the soundtrack, for the movie, and not when I put together kind of a compilation with different hit songs to that they have squeezed into the movie. But it should be original music for the movie. And as I have a lot of James Bond soundtracks, I picked A View to a Kill. And Roger Moore's final James Bond movie, with the Duran Duran making the title track, and with the great 80s sounding James Bond music. It lacks though of the original James Bond theme. Interesting. We lost them in 2022. We lost so many great artists in 2022, especially in the final part, but also in the whole year. So I didn't pick one. I decided to do a kind of a memorial for some of my favorite artists that have passed away, or some that I have a lot of records with, I should say. And first of all, most natural, I guess, when it comes to me, Andy Fletcher of Depeche Mode, who was seen little as the glue of Depeche Mode, the one who kept Dave Gahan and Martin Gore together, and the band together. And as I said, they are going to release a new album soon, so it's great to see that they are managing to do music even without Andy Fletcher. But rest in peace, Andy Fletcher. We have Jim Seals of Seals and Croft. I also have a lot of albums with. Get Closer is this. We have Olivia Newton-John. This is Soul Kiss. We have an artist I don't have that much records with, but I wish to have it soon, and I have watched him much on YouTube, because there are a lot of concerts on YouTube. One of my favorite jazz Hammond organists, Joey DeFrancesco. And we have a Brazilian singer that I also have a lot of records with, in the traditional MPB, bossa and jazz tradition, Gal Costa. Rest in peace. We have, of course, Christine McVie from Fleetwood Mac, that I also made a video about. We have Terry Hall from The Color Field, and of course from Specials, and of course from Funboy 3. And we also have, just recently, Maxi Jazz from Faithless. So rest in peace. Disappointing purchase in 2022. There were some of those, but I don't think anyone was as... usually in my year in review videos, I usually do a kind of worst finding of the year and so on. I haven't done one in a couple of years now, because I didn't want the video to be too long. But this falls under the same category, I guess. So the worst finding in 2022 was an album that I was more or less blind by. I know of the artist, but I haven't been listening that much to him. So I gave it a shot on Gino Vanelli and The Gift of the Gemini. The Gift of Gemini. Gemini. The Gift of the Gemini. Thought it to be a really nice, maybe relaxing, light pop album, and it was very, very boring melodies, maybe with some exception, and it also contained a suite that was too fuzzy for me. It was too much of a avant-garde for my taste. It was definitely not an album that I will listen to ever again. It was definitely not my taste, so sorry. I know that Gino Vanelli has his fans in the Vine community, but I will not say that I will be one of them, unfortunately. We have new non-vinyl purchase, which was very hard. I haven't done bought that much that is music related that wasn't in the form of a record. But this one came to my mind. A DVD. Ladies and gentlemen, the best of George Michael. A DVD with all of the videos. And this one I bought for only 10 cents. You found a grail, and pick anyone from the year review videos best of chart. I could have picked Chicago, but I think the grail means that album that I wanted to have for quite some time and finally found. And the Chicago album, I didn't hardly know it existed, a box format of that album. Of that concert, sorry. But this one was an album that I wanted to have for quite some time, ever since I found the first soundtrack from this movie, because there are actually two, one official one with Johnny Mandel Big Band, and one that contains a smaller band with Jerry Mulligan, I Want to Live. And ever since I found out that there actually is this one also, and that this is from the movie as well, I felt like I found an EP with it, but I felt also I want to have the full vinyl of it, and I finally found it this year, so I was very, very happy to have found this one. We have space-themed album, sleeve or song. Pretty obvious. I would assume that this will pop up in many, but I felt it was pretty normal for some reason to pick it up. Star Wars soundtrack. John Williams, having Return of the Jedi also soundtrack, and have also the Phantom Menace soundtrack. So naturally space themed album sleeve or cover. Show some VCLT or a present. Well, VCLTs from Indie Disc or Shell this year. And as I said in my review video, I didn't want to pick anyone is better, but as I got so much from Shell, I picked one from him. And I picked one that I remember was really knocking me off when I saw it. It was an album by a band that I really like. And it is by far the newest album I have, because it was released in 2021. I'm talking about British Church's album Screen Violence, their latest album, with the great vocalist Lauren Mayberry, who has a very cute and charming voice. And this album is maybe a little bit more new wave rockier than the previous one that are more synth pop, pure synth pop, but it's really, really good. So I was really, really shocked when I got this one from Kjell Mand. And final question: show an album released in 1973. As my 70s shelf is starting to fill up very much, I have some actually that is very, very interesting. But I think the one that I picked, one of my favorites from that year is Jackson 5's Skywriter. It's also a very interesting story. As you can see, the members of Jackson 5 looks very unhappy. Look at Michael Jackson, he looks like he swallowed the lemon. But they were actually in a problem with the Motown, and they would very soon shift over to Philadelphia, Philly Soul, for a couple of records. But they look very, very unhappy because of all of these disputes. But they still managed to do an album that is really, really great when it comes to soul and feeling, and really, really great album actually. So that was my vinyl tag for 2023. I hope that you, Rob, and everybody else were satisfied and enjoyed it. So with that, I have started my Vinyl Community Year 2023. Let's see what the year will bring. I will of course do more showing on my collection in various genres, and vinyl CD updates and so on. Maybe more of the 1448 series that I had been doing for the past year. So who knows what will happen. So until next time, take care everybody, and see ya.